How do you like your tea? Cream? Sugar? Or do you want me to pee in it?
You're a class act, Clarissa.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I am your host, Jason Bishop, and welcome to cold and flu season. Jesus Christ. It has been a bit since we've last talked. We've been giving you these HorrorCon panels, and I hope you've been enjoying them, but it was time for a break. I do have more coming.
Yep.
But it was time to get Trish back in here. We were itching to talk. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And I came back for this, so I'm a little weirded out.
Well, I kind of figured it was a good way to start October.
Very true. Very true. It's a movie you don't forget.
No. I guess we'll be heading into 31 Days of Horror, so we're going to try to crank those out for you in November as best we can. Life's gotten busier and more complicated, but we're going to try to get those out, and I've pretty much got the schedule figured out for the rest of the year, so
Yeah.
this might actually be the last of the regular episodes, and then we get the 31 Days of Horror, a few more panels, and then it's Christmas.
Christmas time. Already. What the hell? I was furiously trying to do my 31 Days of Horror when I noticed how far we were into September. And I was like, I better get my ass on this and find some things.
Well, I'll probably fly off the seat of my pants, but there's things I've got.
I mostly do, but I have a list of things that I want to hit.
Yeah. Did I introduce you, Trish Coughlin, everybody?
Oh, hey, everybody.
It's been a while. We're off our game.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Society from 1989 by director Brian Yuzna. It's too bad this is right at the end of September, so I can't count it. But I'd never seen it. I'd seen pieces of it. Like, I've watched a lot of horror documentaries. This one comes up a lot, and the shunting is probably more famous than the rest of it.
Yep.
I actually was expecting this movie to be more of that, and it turned out to be more of a mystery thriller, but surrealist.
Surrealist. I mean, largely there's paranoia throughout it.
Oh, for sure.
It's that mystery paranoia where you have the one character who's like, something's going on, and people have a secret. And
it has that underlying paranoia that, like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers has.
That's exactly what I was thinking of when I was looking at that main character.
Yeah, with maybe the body horror of the Blob, the remake.
Yeah, it's Cronenberg via Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. So I was surprised at how little there actually was of that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, they back end loaded it.
oh,
and,
boy. I mean, when they get to it, they get to it.
Oh, God, yeah.
They give you a lot of it, and it's just like, wow. But yeah, it's a bit surrealist. I think it was a case of people were coming up with ideas, and Brian Yuzna is like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things in there that just are left hanging and not explained and don't make sense. And it's kind of okay. There's still a narrative there that's this commentary about upper crust society being really weird, at least to this
and
kid.
insular.
Yes.
It's we are we and they are they.
Yeah. They really kind of play on that because it's the main character, Billy Warlock, his sister's coming out party, and that's kind of the setup for this movie. It's to get to this party, this coming out party. I think we've talked about this in the past, like a socialite party. You've explained this before, and I don't quite understand.
Yeah, it's some weird thing where, rich people want to present their daughter to society. I don't know, much like you would have a, auction. And kind of in a way, this one is like that, really. It's now the meat is ready.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. And it touches on some subjects fairly early on that are designed to unsettle you. Like they hint at an incestuous relationship with the daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, yep, that's off-putting.
Incestuous relationship with God, but you also have, he's been seeing a therapist who, of course, chosen by his parents, very untrustworthy. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a young kid, doesn't know anything else. And honestly, when you're kind of there, you're on your own unless you're part of the group.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't fit in. He actually just acts like a normal kid.
Yes.
Of that age, although he was probably like 20. But
I know, but it comes off as completely normal.
Yeah, just normal. Until this bit at the end where after he gets out of the hospital, I honestly thought he got changed or something. He was
Me
just
too.
acting so weird.
I thought it was like they'd replaced him with, again, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It was a pod person. It was a different person.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, well, he's acting really out of character, or he's like just really cocky all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Why?
That's right. Roll out the red carpet. Bill Whitney never disappoints, huh?
They said you were dead.
Things are just the way they seem, only more so, Milo.
What happened? What did they do to you?
Nothing. I'm here, aren't I, huh? I won, Milo. I'm free. They couldn't handle Whitney the Wonder Boy.
Bullshit, it's a setup. Look, they even brought your Jeep here.
Come on, they just want me to be happy.
Bill, you're officially dead. Come on, can't you see they're setting you up for something?
Paranoid? I'm not paranoid. All my fears are real.
I went into a little bit of a deep dive. I did do some little research as I was watching it because I had seen it and I was like, I just want to prep myself. And the explanation that I got a couple times was that he had been drugged, so he was flying high on that. But that wasn't clear. We got to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't think.
And I don't think he needs to be like that, but I think he needs to be more amped up about confronting them about it. Not so much.
There needs to be some more.
It was the wrong tone for him.
Yeah, it's suddenly like he went from fear to drive. Like, I just don't give a shit
fear
about
to,
this anymore.
Obnoxious bravado.
Yeah, like unearned.
Yes. Oh, great. You snuck out of the hospital. Way to go, son.
Yeah. Like, there was this big setup where he woke up in the hospital and his vehicle sitting there waiting for him. Okay, like, how is that the setup to go home when he was already threatening to leave home?
I know.
Like, I don't, like, and that's just one of many things that it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Like the hair-eating mom of of Clarissa.
And I have a thing about hair in food in my mouth. Like, it makes me vomit. Hair, when it isn't in a person, makes me throw up. So I had to close my eyes during most of those parts. Anything with hair, I have a gag reflex that will go off.
Even watching it, that's funny.
Even watching it. Even thinking about it, my mouth is,
Mm-hmm. This was a directorial thing for Brian Yuzna. Mm-hmm. Coming off Reanimator, he wanted to direct The Bride of Reanimator.
Yeah.
And they had gotten some Japanese investors on that, but the Japanese investors go, no, do this one first, and then you can do Bride.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised he got Bride. I guess that was the agreement because, I mean...
It was a 2-picture deal.
Yeah, it was, basically. Society failed at the domestic box office. It was made it finished in 1989. Didn't come out to 1992 in North America, but it did have a European release before that, where it did quite well.
Oh, yeah. When it was in rental market, it was doing incredibly well.
Yeah. Maybe this European market was a little more open to like this weird art house horror movie.
Well, I think it's mostly because the European market was more interested in the concept of class. I mean, in the US, I mean, it was still kind of fairly, you knew about the rich and the other people, but I mean, there was still kind of a middle class then. So it isn't as apparent as it is now.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was the art side of things being...
It is truly artistic too.
Yeah, being inspired by Salvador Dali paintings.
Yeah. When it came to horror, if it was more high concept, I think they were more into it.
Yeah, it's definitely something we think could fly today, which is why we are remaking that. But first, let's get to the trailer.
Beverly Hills is known as a society of wealth and privilege, but Billy Whitney doesn't seem to be getting his share. He thinks everyone is out to get him, even his friends.
You never were one of us.
He thinks that he doesn't belong.
Hell, they don't even look like me. Why are you guys doing this to me, huh?
He believes he's seeing things. Bad things. Beyond reality. Is it just his imagination?
I'm not paranoid. All my fears are real.
Or has Billy uncovered something terrible? Something unspeakable?
Don't go home, Billy.
What, you've been living with these people all your life and you didn't know anything about this?
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen.
You know you'll make such a great contribution to society.
Who are you?
And now Billy
It's showtime, Billy!
is fighting for more than just his sanity. He's fighting for his life. The time is coming for Billy to take his place. In society, it's all about fitting in.
That was a trailer for Society from 1989, directed by Brian Yuzna, most famous for being the producer on Reanimator, and he did wind up directing the sequel, Bride of Reanimator.
Mm-hmm.
You also might remember him as a director for Return of the Living Dead Part 3, which was a little bit of a less comedic departure from that franchise, but still a very good outing for it before it went to shit on 4 and 5. He also directed the comic book movie Faust. Most people have never heard of the comic book or the movie because it got, I think, a direct-to-video release, and it was a very adult comic book.
But we know the story.
Yeah. Yeah, and as a writer, he's famous for From Beyond and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
I love that, the two poles of that.
Yeah, right? The writer of this was not Brian Yuzna. It was Zeffie Daniel and Rick Fry. Zeffie Daniels and Rick Fry wrote Bride of the Reanimator together. Zeph wrote Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, and Rick Fry wrote Dementia. And gotta bring up Screaming Mad George as a special effects guy and designer for this one, because talk about a signature piece.
Oh, I know. Well, what was weird when I was looking at who was doing the effect was Screaming Mad George, and I'm like going, did he have the name before or after this?
Yeah.
I mean, after this, I would say you just have to.
Yeah. For people who haven't seen Society, he worked on Predator, and he did specifically in Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Okay.
He did the cockroach woman transformation.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's...
Yeah.
Because 4 is Dream Warriors? No.
Dream Child?
Dream Child.
Oh, maybe that's 5. It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
3 is Dream Warriors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be Dream Child then.
I didn't write down the subtitle, so I've completely forgot. This stars Billy Warlock as Bill Whitney. At least they didn't change his first name.
I know, right?
He was mostly doing soaps through most of his career, Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
But he had a pretty long stint on Baywatch. You know, it was the #1 show in North America, or at least the United States during its tenure.
Yeah, and what was funny is the only reason I first saw this is because I was a big fan of him from Days of Our Lives. I'd never...
Oh, okay. Well, he's the son of... was it Dick Warlock from Halloween?
2.
And Dick Warlock's, his whole family was in that movie, including Billy.
Yep.
Nan was played by Conchetta D'Agnes. I honestly don't know who that character is.
I had to look it up. That's the mother.
Oh, the hair eater?
No, the mom of Billy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to look it up because I was looking for the mother to write down my cast.
Okay.
And I had to find that out.
I just wrote mom. She mostly did various TV stuff, just episodes here and there, so nothing stood out to me, but she did quite a bit of 80s TV. Ben Slack played Dr. Cleveland, the psychologist. He was also in Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, SFW, and we may have brought up his name in episode 148 when we talked about Piranha, specifically the TV movie.
Okay, yeah. He was familiar. He's been in stuff.
Evan Richards is Milo, and he was in Down and Out in Beverly Hills. And we talked about him in episode 138, where he was in Altered States.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, he was good in this. I
think
really
that was
enjoyed
his first
him.
movie, actually, Altered States.
Oh,
Not
wow.
a bad way to start a career.
No.
Yeah.
Hell no.
And just as freaking weird.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is his thing. He's just going to do weird shit. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Patrice Jennings is Jenny Whitney, the sister to Bill. And she was in a whole bunch of TV stuff like Growing Pains, Head of the Class, and Beverly Hills 90210. Mm-hmm. Looking at her IMDb, my God, did she age gracefully. What a gorgeous woman.
Nice.
Still. Tim Bartell is David Blanchard. He was in Meatballs Part 2, and Society was actually his last role as an actor.
Okay. So he went on to do...
I'm not sure.
Oh, wait, no, David Blanchard. I did look him up. He went into like writing and directing.
Yeah, he did a little producing.
He went behind the camera.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
Yeah. Charles Lucia is Jim Whitney, the father, and he was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle and Tank Girl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Heidi Kozak Haddad is Shauna. Shauna being the girlfriend to Bill Warlock at the beginning of the film. Mm-hmm. And then kind of just disappears. I honestly thought at one point the mom walked into the house, like the hair eater.
Yeah.
With blonde hair. I thought she got eaten because we had seen her prior tailing Billy. And I thought, oh shit, mom.
And they're spying on them.
And then we see her later and she's fine.
Yeah. They were spying on him in Clarissa's house.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, who's that? We better go. And like, yeah, like I thought the same thing.
Yeah. And she's like desperately wants to be in that upper crust. She's basically using Billy to try to get into that society.
Exactly.
But she's definitely not part of it, obviously. Yep. She was in Slumber Party Massacre 2, by the way.
Oh, okay.
That was the one with the guitar guy with the...
Yeah.
Brian Bremer is Petrie. This is the dude at the debate club. Because Bill Warlock looks like he should be in a debate club. He looked like a jock, man. He was a jock kid.
He is a jock. This is the weirdest part of this whole movie. Yeah. I mean, I can see a jock going for school president. I can. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when he's doing debate club, they don't make him look like debate club.
No. And
he's a bad debater.
Yeah, he's a bad debater, but he's got cocky asshole all over him.
Yeah.
No problem there. He's in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5.
Oh.
And we may have talked about him in episode 108, Pumpkinhead, which was his first role.
Okay. The
way they use him later, because he's basically this cocky nemesis who hangs out with Ferguson, who's the main bad guy in this, He
looks like he doesn't belong with them.
Yeah.
Like, he's like the nerd the cool kids have adopted because they just need somebody to push around. That's what it felt like. So, like, when it becomes apparent that he's part of the group, it seems weird. I don't think he should have been.
Yeah, well, after the supposed death of David Blanchard, who's this conspiracy guy who seems to already know about the society.
Yeah.
Is trying to warn Bill, but Bill doesn't like him because he's an ex of his sister or something.
Yeah, plus he was taping people and he's also behaving very erratically. Again, invasion of the body snatchers.
Yeah, and once he's taken off the table, Petrie kind of fills that role to lure him into traps.
Yeah.
Ben Meyerson is Ferguson. This is the main bad guy. He's the upper crust guy, and he's just, you're never going to be one of us type of dude.
Yeah.
He's a bit 80s tropey.
In any other movie played by James Spader.
Yeah. You may have seen him in Freeway, Speed 2, and Knocked Up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Devin D. Vasquez is Clarissa Carline, and she was in House 2 and Can't Buy Me Love. She's a former Playboy model turned actress here.
Cool.
Yeah, beautiful woman. Oh, my Lord.
And honestly, doing pretty good considering some of the other performances around her. She's nailing it kind of a lot better than other
believe
people.
it or not, like she had no problem doing nudity, but the
Yeah.
sex scene, she'd never done anything like that.
No.
You don't do stuff like that for Playboy. Maybe
No.
Penthouse, but not Playboy. So that was something that she was really nervous about.
Yeah.
And Bill Warlock managed to make that scene shorter because it came so late into production that he just said, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
Nice. Yeah, he's like,
you
what are
can't-
you going to do?
Exactly. It's too late to fire me now.
Yep. That's how you do it,
I
everybody.
mean, they still filmed it, but it
Yeah.
probably was a fraction of what they wanted to do.
Yep.
And, they were trying to keep this to an R. That was one of the reasons why the shunting had no blood.
I did read that too, but it didn't need any. It's
No.
still gross enough without blood.
It sure is. Maria Claire is Sally. I think that's Shauna's friend, right?
I think so.
She was in Slumber Party Massacre 3. And gotta have a little nepotism in here. Conan Yuzna was Jason in this. Just a bit.
Oh, yes. He's one of the kids.
He's one of the kids on the beach.
Yeah. It's a Yezna joint.
Yeah, and he was in Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 and 5.
So, okay. Slumber Party Massacre and Silent Night, Deadly Night are all over this movie.
Yeah, and that's because they got Brian Yuzna involved in those movies. So,
Well, if you find people you like working with, there's nothing wrong with that.
no, not at all. I mean, we've talked about this in the past where directors, they just hire people they've worked with before and had good experiences with, and why not? And I mean, if you're keeping a budget down,
Absolutely.
you're not going after stars.
And also, if you honestly, a way to keep a budget down is have someone you have shorthand with where you aren't spending 2 days getting a shot.
Yeah, you want to get those shots and you want to do it fairly quickly.
Exactly.
And considering the prep on this, I mean, Screaming Mad George was probably getting 3 hours of sleep a night trying to get that big prosthetic piece done for the end.
Yep. And all the other prosthetic pieces.
Yeah. Well, that's it for our cast. So let's go on to this a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about the story, because I'm not going to say plot, because actually maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Why let plot get in the way of a good story? Because it's pretty weak plot.
From what I understood, I think originally the idea was they were just a regular cult and Billy was a sacrifice. And I could see that through line at the beginning. But yeah, no, we're not getting much in way of motivations.
No.
You say he's adopted, and pretty much that's pretty clear. He doesn't look like any of his family, and he's very different.
Yeah.
But why have him for that long just to do this to him?
Yeah, like you've nurtured
That
him
threw
for
me off.
years, maybe, a decade or more to get him to this point.
I think it was when they were talking about the slugs and they were raising the slugs to eat. I think they were trying to show that was the point, but that's... I just feel that's a reach.
Yeah, very weird. There are some stuff, like it was a bit of an afterthought scene with the shower scene with his sister where he walks by the bathroom and, she's washing her breasts, but her butt is also facing in that same direction.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, okay. And that's when you really get weirded out, like, what is happening here?
Yeah, because I looked at that, I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I thought, and for a while there, I had myself convinced that her head was kind of around, but she had bumps on her back. I don't know what I was thinking. I think my brain was like, we're not doing this.
Yeah, and I think that's just it. Like, because it's one of those cloudy shower doors, you're like, what am I seeing? Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? And I mean, that's a really well done piece.
Yeah. It's really well. There's a lot of really good stuff in here. I mean, honestly, there's a scene at the very, 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 very beginning where she asks him to zip her up, and there's just a little bit of sweat there, but then a bubble would bloop, and that effect of like the bubble and bubbling stuff, overused. But they're perfectly good because it's not overdone. It's not over anticipated.
Yeah, the bladder effects were common in the 80s, but yeah, they were going for something small and subtle, and I like how the movie builds towards this big climax that's you'll never see coming.
Oh yeah. Oh no. The reason I'm kind of trying to not say too much is because I want people to watch this, but I also don't want you to know too much because once you get to that last bit, I can't even,
It's really gooey.
yeah, like there's a sludgy unpleasant, snotty, like, when you've been sick, you've had a cold.
It's happening right now. Yeah.
And it's happening right now. You know, those times when something really gooey comes out of you?
Uh-huh.
That was the feeling I had.
It's all week.
Like just that glob of something. Glob. It was very globby.
Globby.
Yeah.
The way the movie builds towards that reveal is really good. You've got the sex scene and then the final moment where she's just kind of laying there all happy. And again, she's all twisted around. And it's another person twisted around. You start wondering, like, how many people are involved,
right?
And who is what, and you're yelling at the screen, like, just stop and listen to David.
I know. What it made me think of too is I kind of had an idea, and just to put this out there, that the reason that they're all so beautifully put together is because they can shift their shapes like that.
Shapeshift, you mean?
Yeah. Like, I mean, they can move everything around like that. Then obviously you're going to look good if you can recombine yourself like that.
Mm-hmm. And we do see some major shape shifting later on.
Yeah.
You know, let me give you a hand.
Oh.
That was quite the piece too.
To be fair, that still makes me laugh. Like the head part. That's so wonderful. That was a really good one. That's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite piece too. Like the big shunting at the end. Like, there's so much going on that you almost need to pause it, and I don't really want to see it all.
No.
It's probably one of the reasons why I hadn't seen this movie yet, is because I knew enough that I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is something I want to see.
Yeah. For me, it's when it starts off, they have these sucking things, because that's another thing that's not really quite clear. I mean, they are sucking the nutrients out of a guy, but my other thing was too, like, how often are they doing this? How often does this happen? Is it necessary for when they're doing this? Do they have to do it?
Yeah. Is this just a ceremony, or is it something like weird thing that they do? Like there's no real rules written here as to why they're doing it. And I guess I'm kind of okay with it, but I do feel like I wanted it because this commentary on society and these really weird rich people really plays well today.
Exactly. But I mean, I feel that might be the key to like a more satisfying defeat, if you will. I mean, is this, if it isn't necessary, then we've got some cruelty. But I mean, I feel they need faults in any good movie. Like the Death Star, you've got to do something that makes it so there's a vulnerability. There has to be a vulnerability because I didn't feel I got anything from that.
No. Man, there's a thing at the end that I don't understand at all, because Billy's fighting his nemesis, but the nemesis can do all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Billy can't?
Well, no, like he's become goo without wanting to become goo, apparently. And so Billy can do the punch through the butt up through the mouth.
Yeah.
But there's no one, like, why does that happen then?
And then why does the dude turn into worms?
Oh, he pulls him inside out.
Well, okay.
That's one problem I had with the movie.
Oh, that's what happened.
Is he pulls him inside out, but to me, it's like, even if they are kind of a shape-shifting thing, I wanted more organs.
Well, actually, and that's where I figure, you can do more now. You don't have to worry about that R rating. We've seen some pretty gory modern horror movies, like the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot, and, you can have the blood and stuff. But I kind of like the idea that these beings are a colony of sorts. Like the worms kind of suggest that they are a colony of creatures, not a singular cell, and maybe this whole mass of them is the same colony.
Oh, you know what that makes me think of? Mushrooms. Because you can have the largest organism alive on the earth is a mushroom. Like, it's a mushroom colony, but they're all interconnected underneath the soil, and like this thing is huge, enormous, the biggest thing ever, but it's all connected. Yeah. And I mean, they're fungus. So, I mean, you could go a mushroom route with this.
Yeah. And you got to be a little careful, because Last of Us is kind of doing that, right?
Oh, true.
when you think of like sea creatures and these colonies
Yes.
of sea creatures. And that's an interesting idea. So if you can go back to the formation of life on Earth and
Yeah.
crawling out of the ooze onto land,
Mm-hmm.
what if this colony creature did the same thing?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
this is their evolution.
exactly. Meteorite on Earth. This colony creature got a bit of the ooze, became what it became.
Yeah. I mean, and even though we have a resolution in this movie that's positive for Billy, basically he just gets away.
Yeah.
It's still very nihilistic. It's like,
They're still there, still
yeah,
doing what they're
still
doing.
doing what they're doing. They killed somebody there. Sure, this kid Ferguson, they had high aspirations for him up in Washington, which shows you how deep this goes.
Oh, yeah.
And that this solved nothing in the grand scheme of things. It didn't
No.
defeat these things. He defeated his high school nemesis.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it.
I mean, there's a line where the judge says, "Oh, I'm going to have an opening in Washington this summer. We'll have to figure out." I mean, that's their concern at the end of this.
Yeah.
Part of their colony is dead, and they're like, "Dang it. Curses.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy."
So I do appreciate that it kind of did both things. We always sometimes complain that people aren't brave enough to go with the dark ending. And this was one of those times where
Well,
they did both.
nowadays you can. I mean, honestly, if you don't do the dark ending, they're kind of weirded out. Like it's expected now, honestly.
Well, I think that's the separation of horror and elevated horror. It's all horror.
Yeah.
But, you know, these deeper themes. And I think this is one of those movies that could fit well within modern horror as a remake. And the way we currently see the Western world with celebrities and politicians and the rich. And they're all colossally freaking weird, man. They're so weird.
I had almost an idea. Now, this was just a nugget, but I didn't know how to do anything with it. And the only reason is because I couldn't figure out why they had Billy, what's going on there. And to me, it was like you would have all these celebrities who achieve fame, maybe not starting out in society, and they are acquired into the organism. I didn't know if that was like a whole thing. So I had this idea that celebrities were acquired into the organism.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, because we see celebrities, they start out okay, and then they just turn freaking bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, you can see that weirdness. At one point, I quite liked Elon Musk, and now I think he's just a weird asshole.
Oh, he's a tool. But it's weird. Wealth does, you know what? That's also part of like the statement of this we could have is like the wealth part of it. They don't even have to, because you have Clarissa. This is the kind of nugget I want to tug at. Is she was brought up in this thing, but she's still kind of at the end. There's something different about her.
Yeah, she doesn't want anything bad to happen to Billy. She formed a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And
there's got to be a nugget where you can't always corrupt people with that wealth.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe she's reluctantly living to the expectations, but she doesn't enjoy it. She's not being fulfilled by it. And maybe she's deliberately keeping herself away from the colony. And it does feel like that through most of the movie. I like this colony idea the more I think about it.
I know. I'm into it now.
Yeah, and I had a thought that with the remake, rather than kind of doing the same thing, kid coming out of high school, push the age up a little bit, and we've got this young, hungry senator or politician that has won in their area that's not part of this. And we now start doing the slow uncovering within Washington itself, within politics. And let's face it, things are getting weird. Like they've been weird in politics
could have
for a
had
very long time.
this guy who was like mayor in a Midwestern town. A Senate seat opens up. They successfully run with him, and it could, part of the paranoia with it could also be that he's brought his family, but his family's like, oh, I'm liking this lifestyle, and they're not on board with not being a part of it. I mean, that would be very traumatic. You're trying to save your family, but they don't want to be saved.
Yeah. And we've seen like young, fresh, hungry politicians
Lose it.
Some losing it and others trying to hold on to their moral fiber within this really broken system.
Yeah.
Because of all these weird assholes. And I like that dichotomy. It speaks truths that we've been witnessing through politics. I mean, and I know our American listeners are like, yes, I'm riding a fine line here, and we do think you guys are weird with your politics, but we are. It's up here in Canada.
It's up here too,
and
we're in Alberta. I mean, we are the closest mirror.
Yeah, you look at 20 years of the same party in England screwing things up. So, and some very weird people. So I'm really trying not to point fingers, but trust me, some of my casting will be.
Yeah. I mean, it's, this is the whole thing about it. When we talk about society, it's like, it starts off this thing as being rich, but rich is only a part of it.
Yeah.
Rich gets you in the door to become and be in there and honestly just stay there.
Yeah, That's rich, powerful, and influential.
Yeah, but they don't leave.
Yeah.
Like, this is, when you talk about them being a colony, it's a parasitic colony.
Yeah, and they are looking for influence. Actually, I didn't even think about this until now, but like social media influence.
That's what, I was about to say. You could have it, when you mentioned the politician, I'm like, I do like that idea, but the other thing I had was like a social media person trying to grow their fan base. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's been done to death. There's been a lot of that lately. We haven't done politicians for a while, and that would just be fascinating.
I feel like we need to talk about that in this movie because of how modern politics are right now, and so partisan and almost cultish.
Yes,
it's upsetting to me most of the time watching politics work. And I mean, politics should not be like following football and you have your favorite team. You should be looking at policy, looking at how they're going to represent you. I do that with my voting here in Canada all the time, and most of the time I lose.
Yeah, it's true. I guess here's, you know what, we could like look into this as part of the movie, because there was always my idea where it's the downfall was when your political allegiance became your identity.
Yeah.
It was not about the ideas. It was the allegiance. And so that's honestly what society is saying. This is your allegiance.
Yeah.
And you are, oh my God, you're literally infused.
Mm-hmm. And it's so within the Western world of politics. And of course, like celebrity and
money
and these very
by
public,
wealth.
Yeah, these very public billionaires. Yeah. And greedy corporations. Like
wealth is driving policy, not the vote, not the people who it affects.
Yeah, the economic divide's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and like the middle class is going away entirely.
Oh yeah. See, and again, this is why I think like in 1989, they still kind of had one. And now they don't really.
Yeah. And I mean, this is, I think, the perfect vehicle to make those commentaries. You don't have to shout it out as blatantly as I am here. But like I said, I'm not trying to point fingers.
Well, and horror always looked at societal problems and ideas and concepts.
That seems to be the biggest one right now. Sure, some celebrities are getting called out. It's nice to see. But politicians seem to be getting away with a lot. Still. And things that they shouldn't be.
I know.
And there should be accountability. And I think that's maybe part of the theme of what this movie is how do we have our character make these people accountable? Is it even possible?
Yeah.
Do we do the nihilistic ending? And I honestly feel like the organism's too big to stop.
Yeah, that's kind of where I went with it. Because when I was talking about like acquiring, because I just didn't know how... To me, it seems strange if they were that ancient. What happens when part of it goes away? Like, who is it? Ferguson. Ferguson is what they say essentially dead at the end. But what happens with that component of the larger group or the larger whole? Do they have to fill it? Is it less powerful without that fill in it? I don't know.
I mean, it's probably a good thing they like slugs rather than people, because people go missing, people notice. Mm-hmm. So if they are maybe their shunting is to acquire the thought processes, the personality of the person within the organism, so they can form it anew to manipulate it the way they want, to have it go in the direction they want, because you're not going to force a human being to do that. But once he's been replaced, and so we throw in a little bit of that body snatchers.
Exactly. Honestly, it's a PR move. Yeah, that's what they could call it. It's like, we gotta do that PR move. On Blanchard, you know what I'm saying?
I like that as a code. You know, we need that. We need to do better PR on Blanchard. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd have to have codes. They would have to have codes.
Yeah. We need to coach him.
Need to coach him. Yeah. You need media training.
And I think that's where, you know, Bill coming in new into the Senate or into whatever. And that's where we meet David, who's already there, knows a few things already, and is trying to get in his ear. I think maybe that might be the way to go. We could have maybe his own family involved. We could, like, I still have that casting because I don't know how this is going to play out. But I mean, the unsettling incest angle, like, I kind of want to keep it.
I do. Yeah, I know, right?
Because, it was unsettling then. It still is.
But you know, you don't, because with our main character, he's new and it's his family. What you can do is one of the other politicians, like it'll be Ferguson, the other politicians, like, have you seen my daughter? She's gorgeous. It's like, I mean, it's not like we haven't heard that sort of thing before.
Did you watch the shunting and think, is this how the P. Diddy parties went?
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, this is what they did with all that goo, all the lube.
Yeah.
I was reading.
They probably were just as sticky.
Yeah, I was reading a couple of things on that, and the people who were in it, they're like, yeah, it wasn't great. You're spending 2 to 3 hours in prosthetics and lube, and I'm like, oh, you poor thing. That's not happy.
Like, they even had a name for his parties. I can't remember what it was now, but boy, that guy's probably going to jail.
Well, from the shit he's pulled, I'm going to go, sure.
Based on what I'm hearing, I mean, if there's any justices in this world, but I mean, guilty, you know, you got to prove yourself innocent or guilty. We'll let the justice system figure that one out. But crazy stuff.
Are they going to charge him?
We all knew he was kind of nuts.
Yeah. Well, my only question was, like, which name are we charging him under?
Well, they're throwing him under the RICO bus, because some of it.
No, but I mean, like, he's had several names.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
What do you write down? I'm
not sure what his legal name is. Is it Sean Combs, or is that just another?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Not
P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Diddy,
not a rap guy, so I've never followed that.
He's one of those guys that kept changing it.
Yeah, he's just a non-entity to me. I'm like, somebody I wish I would stop hearing about.
I know. I'm with you on that.
And it looks like my wish might come true.
There you go.
He'll be rooming with R. Kelly. Sorry, I got on a sidetrack there.
Did they flip a coin? What's going on?
Okay, so I like this idea of Billy going into Washington. We know what we're doing with Blanchard now. His own family. Not sure yet. I mean, he should have a life outside of politics, maybe. And
yes,
that could be where it is, but I don't know how that one's going to work. Maybe we shift their desire to be part of this world, which was Shauna, because I don't see much of a use for Shauna anymore.
No.
That the family can kind of take that over. Granted, then we have to lose the incest angle.
Yeah.
At least with them.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I think it's kind of
shift the daughter over to somebody else.
What we can do is, like, honestly, we can investigate the incest angle. And the problem is he is not interested in the incest.
Yeah. I mean, we could maybe have that within, because I thought the senator at the end could be brought in a lot sooner as a presidential candidate, and the family, this weird family. I'm sure you can make your own allegories. Pick your poison.
Yeah. There's lots of people to choose from.
Yeah. So, like, we could still do some of those themes that were in the first one that we thought really worked, and just move it in a different space.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But what we could have,
because that would also make the major bad guy not like this high school nemesis, but more senators and a person fighting for the presidency. Like maybe they could be stopped on this go round, but it doesn't stop the machine of the.
Yeah.
Because I like the happy but nihilistic ending.
I have a thought. Okay. What if he sort of had connections there before he moved there? Like he went to NYU or something like that. So he was near Washington. And the only reason he went home is because I grew up there. And he always did want to get into politics. He's like, I knew I could win there, which is what they do. They do strategic stuff like that.
Right.
So when he gets to New York, there are people he knows. But from way back when they were young, and like they might have been young and idealistic before then, they hadn't been corrupted yet.
Yeah.
So some of this confuses him.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe somebody like Blanchard he would have been there before him.
Yes.
And maybe they knew each other, or we can have all sorts of young and older people in this, and it kind of opens it up where you can start shifting those characters to fit into that world. So it would be kind of like a political thriller.
I know, right?
Mixed with this bizarre horror movie.
Yes.
Which I really like that idea, because have we ever seen anything like that before? I don't know.
Not bizarre horror.
I mean, they did a presidential angle on Chucky, the series.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do anything with the president, it's either an action movie with Gerard Butler or
I just actually watched all those recently.
I was needing some action. I'm like, you know what? This looks nice and mindless, and so I watched it.
Yeah. Olympus, Angel, all the Fallen.
It was Angel. I'm like, something's falling.
Yeah. I watched all three like a couple weeks ago.
I know, right?
It just felt right.
It's either that or there's something high up at it goes straight to the top. There's some sort of
off my plane
conspiracy going straight to the top. Or get off my plane. In the words of Bob's Burgers, who did a version of that, get off my plane, get off my plane, get off my plane. He does it many times. Or it is again, just like a thriller, a political thriller. All of it. It's a conspiracy right to the top.
I like this. This is going to be a gooey version of The West Wing.
Yeah. A gooey version of The West Wing. That's what I want. That's what I want as the tagline. Society, a gooey version of The West Wing.
I like it. So yeah, I'm guessing we can shift like Jenny, like the family, the Whitneys. Bill doesn't have to have these connections of family per se, because we can move that weirdness into a major political family.
Yes.
You know, and Petrie could be still the toady. That works fine in that setting.
Petrie's you know what? Petrie could be like a consultant or a fixer. Because he doesn't look like a fixer. He's what was it? The Scandal. What did they call the people on Scandal? Yeah. He's the people on Scandal.
I kept hoping for a scene where, like, because Ferguson and Petrie were almost inseparable to the point where I wanted to see them being actually merged and not separated.
Right?
Like something connecting them.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they're like bizarrely holding hands and the fingers are merged in with each other.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here?
Exactly. The Kane and Kodos. We're transporting neutrinos.
Yeah, exactly.
Or nutrients. We're exchanging long string proteins. If you know a better way, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. Yeah, and I think like all of the other characters kind of fit in there. I'm not sure about Clarissa per se. She doesn't have to be within the West Wing, but
I want her to be
like the assigned secretary.
Ooh, I know what I want her to be. Because basically this brings up a lot of other stuff. I would say she's like Ferguson or his political opponents, like just mistress. And she knows a lot. And she's sort of, I would like her to be not quite one of them, but like sort of. She's been on the periphery and she has all the capabilities they have, but she's not in it.
She's kind of part of the organism, but not part of the machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Journalist? She could be a journalist, but she keeps getting accused of spinning things in there. I don't know. She's a tricky one, but I do want her there.
Yeah. And boy, we could have,
Like,
we could
how
have
do you
some fun
do
with
it?
journalists and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, when you're in Washington, how do you do it? Because like you say, it's so partisan. It's like, what occupation are you doing both sides of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not really clear anymore.
Yeah, because if she's working inside, I think she's too deep to not be part of that machine.
Yeah.
But there are other areas of where they can manipulate the regular human beings, and media is a good way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then maybe make her media.
Yeah, like if she's a reporter to the White House.
Yeah.
The one lobbing softballs and instead of asking the hard questions.
Exactly. Oh, and that would be her turn. She starts lobbing the hard questions, the ones that nobody else should know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not. She's like, we're not filming on a delay. This is happening now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got some good stuff there. I mean,
yeah, my casting doesn't really fall. I didn't know what we were going to do because I
don't know how a big ending would be. I mean, the shunting is something else, but I almost want to set it all on fire.
I know. Well, that was actually my thing when Billy gets out of it and like, or at least when Milo gets in there. I wanted him to save Billy and then they set the house on fire. Because I was looking like, that's the only way to get rid of that organism.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, there's no ending there's no nihilistic ending if you kill the organism.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're killing part of the organism, right?
Yeah.
Because the organism's so
Everywhere.
widespread.
Yeah.
That ending, it slowed them down maybe by 10, 20 years, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop them.
Yeah. I wonder if you could do it like just you could have a big, like, I think you need something as an homage to the shunting scene without doing the shunting scene because I don't think you can redo anything like that.
Oh, you totally have to do the shunting scene.
No, but I mean, like, doing the whole thing.
I mean,
it's never going to match.
Doing that in the Senate floor, the speaker in the house.
My God. See, I keep picturing an Eyes Wide Shut scenario where it's at somebody's house in the country.
It probably should be a big manor because, they got cameras and stuff in there. Although they had a dude filming it.
I know.
Like, I thought that would be another thing, too. Like, go grab that camera before you run out of the damn house.
Nope, didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because that would have been another thing where he's trying to present the evidence. Oh, this is great. The effects in this are amazing. Oh, my God. If you could have that and have a cameo with the director of this and the other effects guy.
Well, they're both still around, so.
That would be amazing. Okay, I want to put that just in as a tag at the end of the credits. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, no, Screaming Mad George, he's something else. He was like this punk band guy turned
Awesome.
special effects guy, and there was the Japanese that say, hey, use this guy for your special effects.
Oh, yeah? Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right, well, I don't know if there's much more to add to our plot here. I think we kind of got a good structure. It would take us a lot longer to come up with the full, complete story, but I think we got a fairly good structure and idea of what we're doing here.
I have one more thing. Maybe thinking for like the big break, just for the big sort of confrontation, it would be, I think, especially if it's political, it would be about exposure. It would be about trying to show people stuff and maybe not losing the evidence at the end, not having the evidence, but still trying to fight on as he leaves Washington.
Yeah. And they could make things appear and disappear. Like, I think they were maybe trying to hint at the fact that even if you can't see them as human beings, they might still be around.
Yeah.
Because, like, otherwise, how do they make objects disappear or have a vehicle show up within minutes?
They're shapeshifters.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe it's time for some casting here. This is where things can get a bit interesting and see where this might go in the hands of some new stars and directors.
Yes. Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing because I was like, this one really, I couldn't fathom it. I guess it's because after seeing that, I always get stuck up on those last 20 minutes and it's so hard to get past that to see something else.
Yeah. They're something.
Like, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it. I swear there will be a difference in you afterwards. Your brain is forever changed. Just saying.
Yeah. You will definitely be different. All right. Well, what do you got?
All right. So for Bill Whitney, I went with Noah Schnaps from Stranger Things.
Okay.
Because I was doing
Yeah, we didn't know where we were going yet.
Jenny Whitney, Elle Fanning.
Okay.
Jim Whitney, Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay.
Nan Whitney, Diane Kruger.
I like her.
Nice. Shauna, Sydney Sweeney.
Okay.
Milo, Finn Wolfhard. Clarissa Carlin, Joey King.
Mm-hmm.
David Blanchard, Cole Sprouse. Because he can do Weird and Unhinged, and I love that idea.
Yeah, this is you're picking some very popular young actors right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ferguson, Lucas Gage, who was in White Lotus. Petrie, I went really off-piste with this. Ian Armitage from Young Sheldon.
Oh. Get a little weird. I like it.
He's about the right age now.
Yep.
Dr. Cleveland, John C. Reilly. I thought you'd like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, he doesn't look human to begin with.
True, but that's part of the fun. Judge Carter, Michael Sheen.
I like him. Yeah.
And I actually cast Mrs. Carlin because I thought it would be interesting. They put her in, they made her such a weird character that didn't really, like, she sort of paid off, but didn't pay off, but then seemed sort of like an object of pity or scorn. So I changed it to Anna Felci from Cemetery Man because I think a beautiful, hot woman who doesn't say anything but is weird is very unnerving.
But she'd be like in her 50s now.
No, she's born 1972.
70, oh, well, yeah, she'd be
Yeah,
50.
exactly.
Okay.
She still looks great.
Mom, yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, the mom. My director, I went with, again, I've used her before, but the reason I'm using her, I'll tell you why. Anna Lily Amirpour, and it's because of her Cabinet of Curiosities episode called Outside, which has Kate Micucci in it, and there is a very, very gooey episode.
Oh. I haven't got to that one yet, otherwise that might have informed me as well. Okay, I'll start with my director because I often forget if I leave it last. So I was thinking about Luca Guadagnino, the director of the Suspiria remake.
Oh, so good. Yes.
Yeah, because he can take
contortions, horror.
He had the body horror.
Conspiracy.
He took the threads of this original movie and made it his own and really worked it. I mean, that movie is amazing.
It's wonderful.
To me.
Oh, to me too.
Yeah. In no particular order here, for Ferguson, I had this idea for Ferguson because of the political aspect. I almost felt like he's somewhat redundant. Yeah. And I kind of wanted to merge his character with Clarissa so we would have an attitude change.
Okay.
Within the character if he's working within the system of government.
Yeah.
And meeting Billy and having this attitude change. Now, I've done gender swapping here, so Billy's
Well, it gives a nice,
female.
rich backstory to him and a richer character.
Yeah, and you'll really like this because Glenn Powell.
Nice.
Twisters, Top Gun Maverick, that smile that charms.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and he's done some other stuff where he's just been funny, and I'm charmed by that.
Yeah.
I like a guy with sense of humor.
Yeah, so I kind of thought maybe merging his character, like...
And he does look like somebody who'd be in Washington. Like...
Yeah, like start off being an asshole and have this turn of character, which, you know, when I thought of that, I'm like, okay, well, then I'm going to make Billy female and have Margaret Qualley
so
in that
nice.
part. You might remember her from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
Beautiful woman, too.
Andie MacDowell's daughter.
Oh, I did not know that.
So if you look at her, you see the resemblance.
I definitely see it. Yeah, and, you know, when I was doing my casting, once you said it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For Jim the dad, I went with Rob Lowe from
I almost
Parks and
did
Recs
it.
and West Wing.
I almost did that. That was on my list.
For his wife, I guess that would be Nan, Famke Janssen.
Also thought of her too.
Yeah.
But I went for some reason. I was going the blonde, blue-eyed route because there was a little, there's a hint of racism I was trying to get to.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it too is like Margaret Qualley. At least the photo I saw had dark hair, so I wanted somebody with dark hair.
Oh yeah.
For Jenny, except I've turned Jenny into a brother.
Why not?
So I went with Nick Robinson from Jurassic World
He's
and
good.
History of the World Part 2.
Yeah.
For a president or presidential candidate, if he is available, for other reasons. Departed actor Alec Baldwin.
Oh, yeah. He's played the president. Or has he played the president?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the president don't like it.
Oh, no, I thought you meant like in a movie. Sorry.
Oh, sure. In a movie, also on SNL.
Yeah, no, sorry. I wasn't even thinking of that.
But, you know, assuming he doesn't go to jail for shooting a stunt person.
I know. Well, yeah.
I mean, obviously not on purpose, but...
Cinematographer.
Cinematographer. That was right. Mm-hmm. For Shauna, and I merged her character with Milo because...
I like that idea because, yeah, you're right. Shauna she disappears.
She disappears. So I think it's if you have a love interest that you're swaying over, you don't really need to have another one go away. So I thought the best friend, maybe who might have an interest would be the Milo character.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, how about Mia Goth from the X trilogy?
How crazy
Pearl,
is it?
Maxine Suspiria, Infinity Pool.
I almost made her my Shauna as well.
Oh, on similar paths here.
Yeah.
For Petrie, Dane DeHaan.
Yes.
Oppenheimer in Chronicle.
He's got that look. Yeah.
This is mainly because I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel playing J.D. Vance.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Haley Joel Osment as Cleveland.
I like that.
So, I mean, you knew him more as a kid actor from Sixth Sense and AI.
But you know what? He's so gifted comedically. I want him in this to elevate our humorous beats. Because he is really good. Really good.
Yeah. So, if he played that psychologist, I think that would be... Or, whatever that wound up being in the new...
Consultant, psychologist. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And for David, I went with Maze Runner actor Thomas Brody Sangster.
Nice. Oh, man. I wish I would have thought of him.
And I had if we wanted to fill out the White House or just the Senate or whatever, I had a whole bunch of people that I thought would be really good to see in a movie like this in small parts and even bizarrely.
Oh, there's wish lists.
Or more in the shunting. But I was thinking and some who could portray weird and other people who just are.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Sheen.
Again, I thought of that.
Diane Lane, not weird, but I just, I thought she could kill it. John Cusack, kind of a weird dude. Maria Bello, I think, is a splendid actress.
She's wonderful. I think she'd be game, but you know what? I would elevate her character to being like somebody really running things behind the scenes. I see her as... Yeah.
They don't all have to be White House because if we have some news people, we could have them head of Fox News or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or reporters or whatever, correspondents. But people in positions of power. Or
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking rich people, they play in billionaires as well. People who are these PACs and whatnot. More on my list here: Jamie Foxx, Paul Giamatti, Benicio del Toro, Liev Schreiber, Edward Norton.
How weird is that?
Matthew,
you've put 3 names I was thinking of.
Matthew McConaughey, Heather Graham, and Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yep. I did look at all those. Liev Schreiber came up only because I watched Perfect Couple.
Something.
Oh, yeah. Liev Schreiber can be very different when he really, really wants to be.
Yeah. I think of him in Phantoms, and that's the character it would be in this movie. Liev Schreiber would be the hair eater.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Parks and Rec episode where there's this guy, he cannot, literally you think he's a robot because he can't think of anything on his own. I could see Liev Schreiber be doing that. He's going, and welcome to my campaign. And then just nothing else. Because there's no teleprompter. I would love to see him play vacuous but handsome. It would work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just all these names kept coming up, and I'm like, well, I can't use them all, but I can drop them, and we can put them in parts. And
I always made the judge Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
There's so many times.
Paul Giamatti wouldn't do a movie like this, but it would be great to see him.
This is just a wish list. We fully acknowledge this.
Oh, yeah, we know. The original movie, it only had a budget of $2 million. This probably will cost more.
Yep.
Because they'll probably use a special effects enhanced with some CGI, but hopefully they don't go down that Thing sequel route which was
Yeah.
god awful, and still try to stay
No.
with the practical as best as possible because boy, that stuff still looked great.
That practical stuff. See, the practical stuff that I saw, like, I still have such a visceral reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a level of nausea
Mm-hmm.
that I was working through.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh, butthead. We have to keep butthead. You're right. I am a butthead.
Oh yeah, I mean we can fit that in there somewhere.
I just remembered that.
Yeah, maybe that can go in there somewhere. It's easy enough to throw back exactly where it used to be.
Exactly. Okay, there we go. Anyway.
IMDb gives us 6.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it's time. You're out of practice, I'm sure, but
good
it's time for
God.
you to make a couple of guesses.
Yeah.
What do you think the critics thought of this movie?
Critics thought of this movie. Well, see, this is the whole thing. European critics would have been kinder. And I don't know who I'm talking about. 71.
Okay. And what do you think about the audience score?
63.
Yeah, you're not that far off here. It's actually 64% for critics
Whoa.
and 60% for audience score.
Oh, wow. Okay. There we go. Flip them and really lower one and I would have been fine.
So, yeah, this was what a weird ass movie. I mean, we've probably talked about weirder movies, but what a strange way to kind of kick off the spooky season for us.
Do you want to know a fun fact? I was just doing some scrolling and there's a post on Reddit talking about this movie. And do you want to know what somebody mentioned in one of the comments?
Sure.
Have you seen Liquid Sky?
Oh, God
weird.
damn it.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that.
Yes, I have. The anger is still real.
I know. I know. I was telling him, no, watch The Signing. Don't watch Liquid Sky. Like I was kind of wanted to talk to Reddit and be like, please tell people to avoid it. Send help.
You won't recover.
No. Again, another movie that will change you. You will be different after, and not in a good way.
Exactly. Oh, well, it's good to be back. We hope you like this. I'm not sure what's happening in a couple of weeks. Could be another HorrorCon episode while we are prepping 31 Days of Horror. That'll be dropping in November. Cult movie trailer A Go-Go will be landing. I do believe like December 31st, right on New
Sweet
Year's
ass.
Eve. So
Love it.
that's cool, but I got to actually start putting that one together as well. But still lots of cool stuff to come for the rest of the year. And we hope you like those HorrorCon stuff. I'm just trying to get them out of the way because they're 2024 and we're running out of 2024.
Yes.
So, by the time we get into the new year, we'll start getting back into regular stuff. There's some episodes that kind of got bumped this year that I want to get back to. And there was a recent remake that popped up on streaming. And like, oh, we got to do that. So
I guess my one other question is too, after watching this batshit movie, are you finding more inspiration for Cult Trailer A Go-Go?
Well, I haven't really been looking for trailers because I've had a lot.
On your plate.
No,
Yes.
well, not on my plate per se. I had a lot of trailers already downloaded, so I've got a pretty big library that'll get me a whole lot more. So I just wasn't doing a lot of digging, but it might turn up in Cult Movie Trailer Go-Go because it actually has a pretty good audio-friendly trailer, as you heard in this episode.
Exactly. And again, just so weird. Like when you talk about Cult Trailer Go-Go, and I hear about movies where I'm like, somebody did that?
Yeah.
And then I watch something like this, I'm like, yeah, no, somebody did that.
Somebody did that. And that's part of the point of Cult Movie Trailer Go. Somebody did that?
Yep.
I don't know if I want to watch it, but the trailer was pretty funky.
Right? Right? Somebody did that. I should probably see what they did with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're happy and you're like, wow, I'm glad that's in my brain now. And other times you're like, oh no.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for coming back and joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, I've been Jason.
And I continue to be Trish.
And we are out of here.
beauty mark. I'm getting too old for this.